Yo guys, what up? Check it out, it's the bro, yo. So, let's move this thing up a little bit back so we can see what we're doing. Position the old camera, right, cool. So this is the first kind of different video style, doing a little kind of more kind of, you can see my face, talking, my expression, whatever, the vlog style, I guess. I do it normally with just talking and stuff. Well, talking, and then I'll play the records. I don't know whether that's, you know, so I'll get someone else to film, but I'm just doing this myself, as you can see. No external inputs coming in, so we're just gonna do a quick, like a vlog of today's purchases, right? Because that's what my channel's about. It's about music. There's other stuff which would be quite sweet to kind of talk about on like other different subjects and stuff, but my channel is chiefly about music, so I'll talk about the history of, you know, like the purchases, where I got them, etc. Maybe a little bit of like, yeah, just the history about it, like what brought me to buying that thing, and what was my inspiration for it, and what else? Gosh, lose my train of thought. And gosh. Anyways, so how we came about buying that, and I'm forgetting everything. Anyways, right, today I was in my local town. We're in Surrey, and there's a record shop. There's literally just one record shop there, but it's quite nicely done, and it's in the mall area. Yeah, I mean, my local town is okay. We've got a bunch of towns all around here, and you know, that one's a bit more kind of, how can I put it? It's a little bit more clean. It's pretty uninspiring architecturally. Not the most, not really the most interesting of towns. It's quite forgettable, really, but it's not a dirty place, and but I don't really care for it either way. It's just like you go there to get, you know, you get your shopping and stuff and a few other essentials, but I don't really, you know, otherwise I don't really care for it. But as I say, it's clean and tidy, but not really anything amazing beyond that. But that's the UK for you, isn't it? I guess, you know, everything's like, there's a lot of symmetry, you know, you go from one town to the other. And anyways, I digress. So I went to the store, and we picked up, I'm revealing everything, we picked up a bunch of CDs this time. I got literally 5 CDs for a tenner. Now, I know CDs don't have the same value, of course, of records. I understand that. They're obviously a hell of a lot cheaper to manufacture. They don't have the same nostalgia, they don't have the same vibe, they just don't have the same value. But people are buying CDs again. Maybe, I don't know if they're buying old CDs, but the other thing to note, I would say, about CDs is generally there's a kind of like, yes, they're producing CDs as well. I don't know if they're producing them in the same volume as records. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know. But there's probably a hell of a lot more markup on a CD, so I suspect they're smart enough, like a lot of the big record manufacturers, to say we'll continue to produce CDs as well, because they could sell a CD for say £10 or £15 less, but they'll make a hell of a lot more money on it, because to produce those CDs is infinitely cheaper. The process is just, you know, producing records is a lot more expensive, so that's why as well records always will be more expensive. That's just a given. CDs are dirt cheap to produce, but they'll make a lot more money on those CDs, I suspect. That's why when they put out the record, they have to increase the price. And anyway, CDs, come on. Vinyl is just, like, records are always going to be superior. I'm saying inferior. Superior for me, anyway. What else? But yeah, before I started buying records in the sort of maybe mid to late, I guess it'd be mid to late 90s. I think I probably started buying records around 96, 97. I was just buying CDs because, you know, you had tapes and CDs. I had many Walkmans that you know, portable tape players I got through. And then you know, is you wanted to get hold of stuff that other people may not have yourself, or you hadn't got a copy of on tape, you had to get it on CD. And again, CD for me was a portable, it was a quick, small format, and the quality was reasonable, and it did have advantages over tape, because obviously you didn't have to manually forward, you could just skip from track to track. So there were a lot of cool things about CD. And at the time, I recall, before I started getting records, because I guess there was a cool factor to buying records, etc. That was the truth of it. It was the coolness of it. It was the fact that, as well, getting older, older stuff on CD could be tricky, maybe. And records, certainly when you're going back, further back, I'd say pre 82, 81, 82, 83, you're talking about getting stuff on record. You know, none of the old stuff from the 70s and early 80s would really be on CD, to be honest, unless it was, you know, it came out after that release on record. So again, you know, you're having to pick up all this stuff on you know, on vinyl anyway. That's the short of it. Like all the old school stuff I had to pick up, I would get on I was getting those on record, basically. You know, like early electro, funk, jazz, fusion, yeah, just all bits and bobs. And then like I was collecting lots of, not lots, because like there wasn't tons of it, you know, krautrock and electronic German stuff, and just all sorts of bits and bobs. Anyways, right, let's get on to the subject, which is this is what I picked up in the local store here in Surrey. I won't reveal my town because, you know, I don't think we want to do that. But anyways, we're living in this patch, and it has its limitations, but it is what it is. Right, cool. So let me think, where can I start? Well, let me see. Right, so first one was this one. I saw this first, which is Depth Charge. No, it's reversed, never mind. Depth Charge, which was 9 Deadly Venoms. This one is J. Cool's Sane, or whatever it is. I forget. I know the dude anyway, but it came out around the trip hop kind of era, and Peel used to play this stuff a lot on his show, Depth Charge, and it was kind of like dubby, trip hop kind of vibe, instrumental. What else? A lot of yeah, just that kind of quite a deep basses, but not kind of groovy, like kind of groovy, but like kind of a bit Massive Attack style bass lines. Hard to describe. It was just like, it was a kind of bass line which was more continuous back then. It was quite deep. It was as low as it could go on your octaves. It wasn't necessarily always subby, but it was deep. Anyway, we've got Depth Charge. I remember this one. I used to have lots of samples from kung fu movies, and that was a cool, like I'm going to enjoy listening to this one. That was a nice find, and I hope there's no issues with the CD, because they said to me in the store that if there's a problem with the CD, I can't take it back. And I'm not happy about that, because at the end of the day, you know, if you're selling a product, even if it's second hand, do you know what I mean? You can't be scamming people, and like, I don't think that's fair, because at the end of the day, these CDs they shouldn't have the crazy value that they do anyway. So for me, I'm like, okay, but come on, you can't be selling stuff which has got problems on it. So I took a gamble with this, and I hope these are okay. I had to check the CDs first, of course, before I purchased them, and overall they look okay. Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. Shut the door. Shut the door. Yeah. Apologies for that, guys. My boy was coming in. He can't be on the camera for obvious reasons. Like, you know, we don't do that, right? They don't go on social media, so that's the short of it, right? So yeah, this one is Depth Charge. As I say, we've spoken enough about that. I forget the name of the producer. Anyway, I'm looking forward to listening to that, so that's cool. Hopefully there's no problem with these CDs. Next one, what did I find next? I think that was the first one I spotted. I didn't pick it up straight away. The next one I got was this one, which was Beastie Boys Intergalactic, and I'm like, I straight away saw it. I was like, it's not the most favourite Beastie's tune out there, if I'm honest. I know it was like very popular and it did very well, and it's a good tune, don't get me wrong, but it's not a personal favourite of mine. Of course, I'm a massive Beastie Boys head, and I do have a bunch of CDs from the Beastie Boys and a tape, believe it or not, and one record. So I've got a load of Beastie Boys stuff across different formats, but mainly CD, ironically. I've got Ill Communications on CD, I've got other stuff. So, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, yeah, I'll get that. It's £1. What the hell? Can't go wrong. And so yeah, that was the first thing I picked up. I straight away saw it. I thought, yeah, we got to get that. Cool. So you guys obviously know. I hope you guys know Beastie Boys, and yeah, so, like the video is pretty mad, and yeah, R.I.P. R.I.P. Oh my gosh, my memory's going mad today. R.I.P. MCA. Very, very sad when he passed away. Very sad it was indeed. And of course that killed off. It didn't kill off the Beastie Boys in total, but they stopped producing music after that point. That's what happened. They just stopped producing music, and I knew that once they made that announcement, it was a like, oh well, sort of day. But yeah, it is what it is. Right, and then what else did I spot next? I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think this was the next one I spotted. So it was another Beastie Boys CD, and this is straight away I recognised the front cover. I'm like, yeah, that's Paul's Boutique. We got to get that. Again, if it was on vinyl, if it was on record, I'm confident it's absolute no-brainer. Especially if it's an original pressing, it wouldn't be in great condition probably. They have repressed it, and I've seen it in HMV where I work in West London, and they're selling it for like 35 quid or something. So I'm like, you know, I'll get that second hand anyway. But we got it on CD, and like, yeah, this is, as many people state, this is a really underrated record, like release by the Beastie Boys. It went completely, what's the word? It was completely kind of, it went under the radar. It went under the radar when it was released. It didn't do well, and I think, what label was it on? Crikey, should know the label. It was on their label, I think, or either it was a different label. Trying to think what label it was on. I think they might have got dropped at that point, or there was some. Though they gave them one more chance with Check Your Head, which was a huge success, and maybe it was just people at that point were expecting similar to what they'd had before, and the Beasties just would kind of show a broader repertoire. Like Licence to Ill is a wicked record, don't get me wrong, but this is like, come on, like Licence to Ill is a great record, no question, but this is a much broader, release with lots of samples in it, and it's mainly kind of goofy. There's a lot of goofy tunes on there as well still, and yeah, there's a lot of goofy tunes on there, and there's a lot of kind of how can I put it? Yeah, there's a lot of funk samples and bits of bobs from old 70s records, and then of course, what else? Yeah, there were a few videos which were released with it, with the fisheye camera rather, which were really cool as well. But yeah, it's a great release. It's a great release. I don't. A lot of people say this is their best. I'm not too sure about that for me personally. I would say Check Your Head. For me personally, this is a wicked release. Maybe second best. Maybe second best, I would say. Possibly, I would say Your Communications maybe after this one, and then maybe Licence to Ill. Depends on your era. You know, me, I got into the Beasties in the early 90s, and I was hearing Ill Communication at that point, and then I got Check Your Head when I went for a school trip up in Liverpool, of all places. I got Check Your Head on tape, and I played that till, like, probably the tape's got in bad condition now. That's another story, but that was for me, like, that was amazing. But anyway, there's one tune on there which is called "Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun," which is a crazy kind of metal, semi-metal tune with rap. So kind of well ahead of the time, for '89. But this is a cool. This is a real find, so I'm happy about that. That's a cool one. That's the Beasties. What did I find next? I think it was. I'm trying to think. It would have been this one here. So this is Ken Ishi. This is a bit out of. So we got some hip hop type stuff at the moment that I bought, mainly hip hop, and then I found this one, Ken Ishi, and this is a release from 1999. So this is a good era for this stuff, and this was of course on RNS Records, which is a great label, and their quality was amazing. I know there's been a lot of change in the last 20 years with the likes of RNS and Warp, and I'm not sure, some of that stuff that's being put out on those labels, especially Warp, maybe not so much RNS, but to an extent yes too. They put some good stuff out on RNS, but I guess they're trying to broaden their appeal, and I think they'll keep these labels have their core crowd nevertheless, but it's alienating them. That's the problem. It's alienating them, and I don't think they need to do that, because at the end of the day, it depends. Maybe not so much Warp. Maybe RNS may feel they need to do that kind of thing, because I don't know if they're tied to a major label in the way that Warp is, and I don't know if the people, original founders of Warp, are running it anymore. If I'm honest, I don't think they are. So it's kind of moved on a lot since then. And as I say, the releases on Warp now, they're still putting out their kind of original guys, like likes of obviously Aphex and Square Pusher, and who else? They put out Seafield recently, of course, and I bought that up. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm like, what the hell is this shit? Honestly, for me, it's just like, it just sounds. There's some really terrible stuff coming out on that label. That's the truth of it, and it just, to me, doesn't have any relevance to their history. And I know things move on, but it's about the depth of sound, not necessarily the sound itself. If you're putting out stuff that basically just sounds like some freaking cheesy, terrible pop, let that crap go on another label. Why put it out on a label that's kind of known for their quality? And to be honest, like, Warp have had periods when they've gone for I'm going off on a major tangent here, but they've had periods where they've kind of made a few gambles, and they've started to push. They went out of what they were kind of known for, which was, I guess, as it really to start with, they were kind of basically a house and techno label, really, if I'm honest. Kind of bleak techno, house and techno, and then they were bringing people with that kind of Detroit sound, but giving it kind of UK slant. That was really what they were known for. Yeah, they had a few crazy people on there, which kind of had a wider sound, like Aphex and that, but then they started to branch out with the other people like Plone and Stereolab and all sorts of things, and of course the jungle thing, like really through sort of mainly Square Pusher was their big, with another shift, but that went down well. Anyways, that's for another subject. Anyway, this is a Ken Ishi release on RNS, and I don't know it, to be honest, but obviously I know Ken Ishi. He's from Japan, of course, and my daughter seems to be very keen on Japan, as I was when I was a youngster. It was all the technology was coming out of Japan. All the video games were produced, like all the arcades machines were produced in Japan. All the major synth manufacturers come from Japan, really, the ones that people really care about, like Roland and Korg, and I guess Yamaha as well. So yeah, Japan has a lot of significance culturally for the West, I would say. So I can understand that. Anyways, right, that's that one. I'm going to listen to that. I've never heard it, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. And I've not heard the Depth Charge one either, really, just through John Peel. The last one I got, and I must say this is certainly a gamble, because like I think the CD looks a bit mashed up, so it may not play, but it's £1. And I do know Luscious Jackson. I was my sister, my elder sister, got the tape. What was it called? It was the second one, not In Search of Man. I think it was an EP. It was the second one. We got that in Oxford Street. I think she bought it on tape, and we got it due to the association with the Beastie Boys. Of course, it was on Grand Royal. I forget the name of the label above that. It had like a weird kind of like a tower or something. Oh, what was the label? Anyway, through Grand Royal, and published probably or produced, whatever it is, through a bigger label. But that was their kind of their little baby. And I'm getting a bit tired. Luscious Jackson, yes. Can't remember the name of the record, but this was the lead. These two were the lead kind of singles of that, and I like Luscious Jackson. They were cool. Maybe it was just because that was what I you know. But to me, it was a different vibe. It was kind of like a little, you know, a little bit indie, but not really. And they had some cool melodies, and they were kind of rapping. They weren't great rappers, to be honest, but they were all musicians. And the drummer of Luscious Jackson was the original drummer of the Beastie Boys. She was in the original lineup, and I think it was Rick Rubin, so I hear through the grapevine. I could be wrong, maybe someone could tell me I'm wrong on that, but I think it was Rick Rubin, or one of those people, someone at that label, Def Jam, wasn't happy, or didn't want her in the mix, because they thought it was not good for the image. So she would have continued to be in the Beasties, were it not for that. Maybe someone can, you know, stand me correct on that, but yeah, this one I will play first just to test, and if it doesn't play, well, I lost £1. But I hope this one, I think the rest are cool, because I checked all the CDs. There was like a smudge mark on one, which is not a big deal, but this one looks a little bit scratched, and hopefully should play. But I do like Luscious Jackson, but unfortunately they've kind of gone off the radar. I think they just, you know, moved on in life, and I think one of them passed away actually recently, which is pretty damn shocking and sad. But they had good momentum at one point. They were never a massive band, but they had good momentum. I think they supported REM, which is not really my thing, if I'm honest. But a lot of folks at school were into that kind of, you know, band. They weren't the worst of bands. I mean, like, come on, there's worse bands out there than REM, definitely. But it wasn't my thing, mainly because I guess everyone else was listening to it. But I think they supported them on a stadium tour and stuff like that. So they got good, exposure. Anyway, that's enough for today, and I'm happy to do this kind of style of vlogging. Hopefully, you guys will be like, yeah, cool. We're gonna subscribe to see my handsome face and all. You know, and I know just like people generally, they find it's easier to you know, see the person talking, you know, actually in the flesh, rather than just without, you know, the face and all that business. I know it works, but so yeah, that's my video. It's a long video, 23 minutes, way too long than I would really hope for. I'm going to test out Luscious Jackson CD first. I'm not even saying my words properly. And the interruption, well, we just have to keep that in there because I can't be bothered to edit it out. That's it for the moment, guys, and I'm going to do more of these ones in the future. Stay tuned for more. And make sure you subscribe, because, you know, of course, you know, not like I'm making dough off this, but it's, you know, it's just gives me like a little bit of pleasure in that. I haven't posted any tunes up, incidentally, of my own music for a while, but they're just really kind of just to give you a flavour of what I do musically. As you can see, because I'm into everything, all sorts of different styles, as long as it's got a deep vibe and a cool groove and everything like that, and it triggers something in me, you know, emotionally. It takes me to a place that's got like, there's a history to it, and it's got a cool sound. I'm about that, and that reflects in my music too. You know, I do make lots of different bits of bobs and music, but of course mainly electronic, because you know that's my main thing. But I haven't posted anything up for a while, and I plan to maybe just post some stuff up soon. But it's only just for listening, really, just to get a flavour of what I'm doing. When it comes to putting out music, that's different. The YouTube is just for like promotional listening, etc. So bear that in mind. Alright guys, stay tuned for more and make sure you subscribe. Word up. Bye.